This new law could wipe out your benefits, and today, you need to check if you are safe. It's not a rumor, it's not clickbait. It's a real change that could drain the money you've worked a lifetime to earn. If you've ever worried about your Social Security, your Medicare, or your retirement income, this law is aimed squarely at you, because the people who wrote it aren't warning you about the traps hidden inside. And it all begins with the big announcement that Washington hoped you wouldn't question. Chapter 1. The big announcement. It happened quietly, almost in the shadows. No primetime address, no cameras flashing, just a quiet signature behind closed doors, and in that moment the rules of your retirement changed. The headlines were quick to spin it. Words like boost, expansion, and relief were plastered everywhere. They wanted you to think this was progress. They wanted you to believe this was a gift. And if you only glanced at the surface, you might have thought finally someone in Washington is doing something right. But you and I both know, when politicians celebrate, it usually means they just pulled one over on you. While they smile for the cameras, their own retirements remain locked in gold. Six-figure pensions, first-class flights, lifetime health care. Perks they never have to worry about losing. And yet, here you are being told to be grateful for crumbs, while quietly, this new law puts your benefits on the chopping block. That is the part they didn't shout about. This isn't just another routine bill. This isn't some symbolic gesture. It's a recalculation of how the money you earn is handled, taxed, and distributed. And depending on how your income lines up, it could mean the difference between keeping what's yours or watching it evaporate. Think about this for a second. You gave decades of your life to the workforce. You woke up early, put in the hours, paid your dues, and with every paycheck, money was taken out. FICA taxes, Medicare premiums, income tax. You didn't have a choice. You played by the rules, believing that one day the system would be there for you. And now, with the stroke of a pen, Washington just rewrote those rules in a way that puts you at risk. Do you see the pattern? They never change their benefits. Their pensions are untouchable. Their perks are guaranteed. But when it comes to you, the backbone of this country, suddenly, everything is negotiable. Suddenly, you're the one who has to sacrifice. And this new law? It's dressed up as a gift, but hidden in the fine print is a trap that most retirees won't see coming. A trap that could quietly drain your Social Security check little by little until you're left wondering why your deposit keeps shrinking. Because here's the truth, what Washington announced is not the full story. The real story is buried in the details. And in those details is the first hidden danger, the kind of danger that could make up to 85% of your Social Security benefits taxable, even though you already paid for them. With every single paycheck of your life. Chapter 2. Hidden tax triggers. At first, the law looks like it is giving you more. The headlines say you are getting a raise. Washington tells you that you will see more money in your pocket. And when you first hear that, it feels like a win. After all, who wouldn't want an extra boost to their Social Security check? You worked for it, you deserve it, and for once it seems like the system is doing the right thing. But here's where the trap springs shut. That so-called raise pushes you into a hidden corner of the tax code. A corner most retirees never even know exists. The moment your check gets bigger, you cross into thresholds that trigger new taxes. Suddenly, what looked like an extra $200 a month turns into a bill you never expected. Think about how unfair that is. You paid income taxes your entire career. You paid FICA taxes every time you earned a paycheck. You even paid Medicare premiums before you saw a dime of your benefits. And now, after all those decades of giving, the government has the nerve to tax your Social Security check itself. That is double taxation. You already paid for these benefits, and yet the law allows up to 85% of them to be treated as taxable income. Here's the real kicker. Most seniors never see it coming. They only notice their tax refund shrinking, or they wonder why their monthly deposit seems smaller than it should. Some even think the Social Security Administration made a mistake. But it's not a mistake. It's built into the law. It's designed to quietly claw back the very raise you were promised. Let me paint the picture. Imagine you receive $18,000 in annual Social Security benefits. On paper, you think you're safe, but with the increase, your income pushes you into a higher provisional bracket. Suddenly, 85% of that $18,000 is taxable. That's more than $15,000 of your check treated like ordinary income. And once that happens, you lose hundreds, even thousands, in taxes you never planned for. And here's the cruel irony. Wealthy Americans already know how to dodge this. They hire accountants, they use trusts, they structure their retirement income so that provisional income never crosses those thresholds. Meanwhile, every day, retirees like you are blindsided. You don't have a team of tax attorneys at your side. You're just trying to stretch every dollar, and the system punishes you for it. This is why I call it trap number 1. The law dangles a raise in front of you, and the second you take it, the taxman steps in to grab it back. You are told you are getting more, but by the time the IRS is done, you're often left with less. And that's just the beginning, because even if you somehow avoid the tax trigger, there's another trap waiting for you. A trap that doesn't just shrink your raise, it can cancel it out completely. And it comes in the form of the one expense no retiree can escape: Medicare. Chapter 3, Medicare premiums that cancel your raise every year, the Social Security Administration proudly announces a cost of living adjustment, the COLA, 2%, 3%, sometimes more. And at first, it sounds like a victory. You think, finally, my check is going up to keep pace with rising prices. But here's the part they never highlight. The same year your Social Security check goes up, Medicare premiums climb right alongside it. You're promised $40 more a month, but $35 disappears into Medicare Part B before it even reaches your account. The government gives with one hand and takes it back with the other. This isn't an accident, it's the design. And you're supposed to feel grateful, even as your net check barely changes. Some retirees end up with less money after a so-called raise, simply because Medicare outpaced their COLA. Think about that. You paid into Medicare your whole life. Every paycheck had those deductions. You thought you were funding your future care. Instead, you're charged again, and the charges grow the moment your benefits increase. What they call an adjustment, I call legalized robbery. And it doesn't stop once. Premiums rise year after year, often faster than the COLA itself. So while you're told you're being protected, your purchasing power shrinks. Groceries, prescriptions, utilities, everything climbs, while your Social Security stays flat or even slides backward. Here is the insult that should make your blood boil. Politicians who wrote this law don't lose a dime from their government-funded health care. Their coverage doesn't shrink. Their costs don't rise. They're insulated. You're squeezed. This is trap number 2. It hides in plain sight. You wait for your raise, only to feel cheated when your check looks the same. It's the 1-2 punch. Taxes eat part of your benefits, Medicare drains the rest, and you're left running in place. But as unfair as that is, it pales compared to the next trap. Because while you're being squeezed, the wealthy play by completely different rules. And their loophole isn't just frustrating, it's infuriating. Chapter 4. The Social Security tax cap scam. If the hidden tax triggers made you angry, and the Medicare premium trap left you frustrated, this next one should make your blood boil. Because it isn't just unfair, it's baked into the very system itself, designed to protect the wealthy while squeezing you dry. Here's how it works. Every paycheck you ever earned was taxed for Social Security. Whether you made $25,000, $50,000, or $100,000, you paid on every dollar. No escape, no exceptions. But the wealthy? They play by different rules. In 2025, Social Security taxes stop at $176,200. That means if you're a nurse making $65,000, you pay on your entire income. But if someone makes $1.2 million, they only pay on the first $176,200. Everything above that is untouched, tax-free. Do you see the scam? Ordinary workers carry the full weight, while millionaires get a pass on the bulk of their earnings. They make more in a week than you do in a year, yet their contribution stops at a fraction of their income. And then they dare to call the system fair. Let's be honest, it's rigged. Rigged to protect the powerful. Rigged to make sure they keep their perks while you shoulder the burden. And here's the kicker. If Congress removed that cap and taxed every dollar equally, Social Security could be funded for generations without raising the retirement age or cutting a single benefit. But they won't touch it, because the same people who benefit are the ones writing the rules. So you're told the program is running out of money. You're warned it's in crisis. But the real crisis is this: billions of dollars escape taxation while ordinary workers like you are left to carry the load. And when the system strains, they point at you and say your benefits might need to be cut. This isn't just a trap. It's a betrayal, a system built not to protect you, but to protect them. And if that wasn't bad enough, the new law doesn't fix this. It doesn't close the loophole. Instead, it distracts you with shiny promises and a so-called breakthrough. But what's really hiding behind that promise? That's where the story takes its sharpest turn. Chapter 5. The game changer in the new law. After all the traps and clawbacks, Washington suddenly changes its tune. They stand at the podium and declare, "This is it. This is the breakthrough. This is the law that will finally help seniors." They parade it as a gift. They call it a game changer. And on the surface, it sounds incredible. A new $6,000 deduction for anyone over 65. Nearly 90% of Social Security recipients no longer owe federal income tax. Headlines screaming, "Your Social Security is now tax-free." If you only hear that sound bite, it feels like a win. You think, maybe this time the system tilted in your favor. No more taxes on your check, no more worry about thresholds, just freedom from the IRS. But here's the truth they don't say out loud. None of it is automatic. The law only works if your retirement income is structured the right way. If your withdrawals, savings, or investments are set up the old way, you could miss out entirely. The promise of tax-free Social Security could vanish before it reaches you. And who's best positioned to capture the benefits? Not everyday retirees, the wealthy. They already have advisors and planners reworking their income to take full advantage. Meanwhile, you get a headline, not a handbook. That's by design. So yes, this new law looks like a game changer, but like every game, it's rigged. Unless you know the rules, you're not the winner. You're the pawn. This is the cruel cycle. They trap you with taxes. They drain you with Medicare. They let the rich escape. Then they hand you a gift that most can't even fully use. And the final insult? They tell you you're safe, but you're not safe. Not yet. Because the biggest illusion is still ahead, the illusion every retiree has been conditioned to believe year after year. And once you see through it, you'll understand just how fragile your benefits really are. Chapter 6. The COLA Illusion. Every year, Washington makes a big show of announcing the cost of living adjustment, the COLA. 2%, 3%, sometimes more. They roll it out with pride, as if they've shielded you from inflation and guaranteed your buying power will stay intact. But here's the truth. That COLA increase is an illusion. By the time it reaches you, the money is already gone. Picture this. Your Social Security check rises 2.6% in 2026. On paper, that's an extra $40 a month. But before you even see it, Medicare Part B premiums climb by nearly the same amount. Suddenly, that $40 shrinks to $5 or disappears entirely. Some retirees even end up with smaller checks after their raise. And that's not the only drain. Inflation runs faster than the COLA. Groceries, gas, prescriptions, rent, utilities, all rising, all chewing away at your budget. The government announces protection, but your reality is falling further behind. That's the trap. The COLA was meant to protect you, but now it's just expectation management. You're told to be grateful for scraps, while your buying power slips away. And here's the cruelest part. Washington doesn't feel this illusion. Their pensions adjust automatically. Their health care never eats into their raise. They get the real increase. You get the illusion. Trap number 4 doesn't just take money, it takes hope. It convinces you the system is keeping you safe when it's really leaving you behind. But here's the silver lining. You don't have to stay trapped. There are ways to check if you're safe, to see if this new law will strip your benefits or leave you protected. Once you know how to measure it, you can take back control of your retirement. Chapter 7. Check if you're safe. Now comes the part you've been waiting for. We've uncovered the traps. We've exposed the illusions. But here's the real question. How do you know if this new law puts you at risk? How do you check if you're safe? Step 1. Look at your income, not just Social Security, but everything. Pension, withdrawals, part-time work, dividends. That's your provisional income, and it decides how much of your Social Security is taxed. Keep it low, and you're safe. Push it too high, and up to 85% of your benefits can be taxable. Step 2. Check your Medicare bracket. The higher your income, the higher your premiums. Cross a threshold by even a little, and your raise vanishes into Part B and Part D costs. Step 3. Examine your withdrawals. If you're pulling from traditional IRAs or 401ks, every dollar counts as taxable income. That can trigger the traps. But with tax-free sources, Roth accounts, HSAs, certain insurance-based income streams, you can protect yourself. Wealthy Americans already use these strategies. Why shouldn't you? Here's the bottom line. You're safe if your income stays under the trap thresholds, your Medicare premiums don't swallow your raise, and your withdrawals are structured wisely. If you don't check these things, you're gambling. If you do, you're in. Control. This new law doesn't wipe out benefits blindly. It punishes the unprepared. But for those who know the rules, it can mean protection, even freedom. So ask yourself right now, are you exposed to the traps, or are you safe? Have you crossed the thresholds without knowing, or have you built a strategy that shields you? Because Washington won't warn you. They're counting on your silence. But you don't have to play their game. You can check your numbers, you can adjust your plan, you can fight smarter and keep what you've earned. At the end of the day, the question is simple. This new law could wipe out your benefits, but are you safe?